Okay, thanks for joining us this afternoon. My name is Tom Suter. I'm the founder of the Advanced Technology Academic Research Center. Welcome to our Thursday after a lunch IT webinar series. Today, we're going to talk about connecting people and supporting missions, expanding mobile to the edge. Definitely want to welcome all the attendees. A special thanks to John Sailing, Becky Wong, Priya Rajagopal, and the rest of the Couchbase team. They've been a great partner with ATARC, and we're excited to have everybody today. This afternoon, we're going to hear from our panelists. We're going to have some Q&A. We're going to pop a poll question or two and then answer your questions. So if all the panelists can come on live and get your audio, we'll just introduce everybody really quickly, and then we'll dive into the discussion. We've got a big crew today, so I'm going to save the speech on how ATARC got started with the mobility group, and it's a model for the rest of ATARC. I won't go into that too much, and we'll get right into introductions. Real quick, we're in Hollywood Squares zone, so I don't know where this falls in, but I'm moving from my left to right. I'll start off with Christian Williams with GSA. How are you doing today, Christian?
Hi, Tom. Then thank you. And then hello, everyone out there. My name is Christian Williams, and I'm the program manager of the Wireless Mobility Solutions Program in GSA's Office of Information Technology category.
Great, great, great. And looks like you're in your home studio there, I take it, or
you
got quite to the office yet. Like everybody else. We also have Gemma Howe, who's the IT security engineer for the National Institute for Standards and Health. Hey, Gemma. You're on mute.
Thank you.
Good to see you again. Are you at your home, I guess, outside of NIST somewhere in Maryland? I take it, right? You live in Maryland, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I
live over on the Fort Meade side. So, yeah, at home.
Fantastic. Great. Well, I look forward to hearing from you. And then we also have with us Joel Dyer, IT Operations, Cloud and Mobility Services at the Federal Emergency Management Agency. How are you doing today, Joel? I think you're on mute.
I am. Good afternoon. I'm doing great. I'm glad to be here. I think you already introduced me with titles, so yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing from everybody.
Great. We also have with us Benjamin Foster, Technical Lead and Product Manager, Capabilities Division over at the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency.
Hey, good afternoon. Yep, I'm out here representing NGA in our St. Louis headquarters, currently sitting in my COVID office and representing NGA with some maps and globes in the background.
Yeah, I like that set. You know, getting the maps and the globe. That's like perfect. And we also have with us Vincent Sritapan, Cyber Quality Services Management Office Section Chief, Acting Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. Welcome, Vincent. And I believe you are you back in Kentucky?
Yeah, I'm still home. All good. Looking forward to the panel. Thanks, Tom.
I'm still getting used to the new title, which we'll get into later.
QSMO for short, but yeah.
Quizmo, yes, Quizmo. We're going to learn about Quizmo today. We also have with us Zarin Newman, Project Manager of Virtual Mobile Infrastructure at Emerging Technologies Directorate inside of DISA, Defense Information Systems Agency.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, I don't think there's much to add there. You gave the titles.
Great.
Yeah, it's great to be here, and yeah, I hope everybody gets to learn some awesome things today.
And I have to throw this in the prep call. He's a new father here, and it was very cute. It brings me back. I'm a little bit older than Zarin, but just back to the newborn days. It was quite gave everybody memories there. We also have Priya Rajagopal, Principal Product Engineer at Couchbase as well.
Hey Tom. Hey everyone. Nice to virtually meet you. And yeah, I'm the Principal Product Manager at Couchbase. We are a technology company and we build a distributed data platform for the cloud and the edge. I'm very excited to be part of this panel discussion.
Great. And where are you out of? You're out of the West Coast, right?
No, Upper Midwest, Michigan.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you for joining us. We're getting that. We got the Midwest kind of going right now. We're all over the place. That's one great thing about the Zoom, doing the Zoom calls. We can get people that might not be able to get in. And last but not certainly not least, Courtney Winship, Chief Digital Services Division, Office of Citizenship and Application Information Services at the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thanks. Good afternoon.
Good. Good to have you. I think we'll just get right into it. Maybe we can start off with Christian Williams at GSA. You kind of have a little bit of double duty, and maybe you can talk about that a little bit, Christian.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Tom, and thank you, everyone. My name is Christian Williams, and I'm the program manager of the Wireless Mobility Solutions Program at GSA. I started in this role it was January of this year, and I've been very grateful for the opportunity. I have to tell you, there's some exciting times and exciting things going on at GSA, especially on the program that I manage. We recently enhanced the GSA Scheduled Mobility SIN 517312 to keep pace with the needs of our customers. This broader mobility approach helps agencies procure the latest technologies and solutions. When you look at mobility as a whole, it continues to revolutionize, and the way we work and live, we rely more and more on technology and everything it can do for us. So our goal at GSA is to make it easier for vendors to get their solutions on the schedule and easy for our customers to get those solutions. We kind of like to call it the mobility first strategy. You know, when you look at cybersecurity, device management, endpoint protection, and application vulnerabilities, it remains a constant challenge for everyone, whether you're industry, academia, or government. GSA is fully aware of these challenges and is making cutting edge solutions available in mobile device management, endpoint threat protection, application vetting, wireless, Wi-Fi, IoT access services, and other infrastructure services to enhance productivity and efficiency for our customers to keep mission focused. The program I work on also has about a 65% small business participation rate, which we know we're really big on at GSA. But this is also huge because it brings us those niche offerings like IoT and mobile app vetting to our government customers to ascertain emerging technologies like 5G. And like Tom just mentioned, I am dual-hatted. So I'm going to talk about myself being a co-chair of the Federal Mobility Group, along with my colleagues on this panel today, Vincent Sritapan and Gemma Howe. So the FMG includes 250 contracting officers, program managers, and leaders from 45 agencies and bureaus across the federal and technical spectrum, and meets bi-weekly to discuss a variety of topics. Together, we focus on non-national security mobility mission and related challenges. We also identify and address Federal CIO Council and OMB priorities. So we accomplished this in 4 strategic pillars. And I think we have a slide on this. I'm not sure if we're showing it. I think Alyssa may have it. If not, I can keep going. So some of the, we have 4 pillars, like I mentioned. Our first pillar I like to talk about is our mobile security pillar. This year, we revised and delivered the FY20 FISMA mobility metrics and developed a playbook. We also have an acquisition pillar. This year, we delivered a white paper that defines terms associated with mobile and identifies acquisition vehicles available for purchase of mobility solutions and provides some nominal guidance for those contracts. In conjunction, the team came up with a webinar that you can actually YouTube out there. So if you need any assistance finding that webinar, it's a really good watch. Just email us at wireless@gsa.gov and we'll definitely help you with that. Also, we have a 5G pillar. And when in that pillar this year, we did a few white papers. A couple I like to mention is the assessment of policies and regulations impacting the adoption of 5G, and also the assessment of 5G labs and test beds nationwide. And one of our last pillars is our mission enablement pillar. This year, we worked on a secure telework guidance, which aggregated the best practices from NIST, NSA, and CISA. And we also worked on a COVID response preparedness guidance, which I think was very helpful for our agency. So that's a little bit about me. Like I said, I'm dual hatted, and back to you, Tom.
Yep, thank you for that. And we got through some technical hangups here, and
Oh, no
we're
worries.
showing it
I
to
see
you.
it up there now.
So maybe we'll keep it up, because with the next, I'm not going to go drift too far from the Federal Mobility Group. Next up, I will go to Vincent Sridapan. And Vincent, you've been working on mobile security for a while, and you've been the co-chair. And then it's very exciting, this new role that you have, and it would be fantastic to find out a little bit more about the Gizmo program.
Yeah. So I can say some things definitely. I'll say, with myself coming over to CISA, it's really much leaning forward into mobility and secure mobility to protect federal networks. It's a really big part. I'm happy to be a part of the Cyber Gizmo team, Quality Service Management Office, led by Jim Shear. I can tell you in my capacity, I'm really here to lead development and delivery of mobile security service capabilities to help protect federal networks. Government networks. As the acting section chief, I lead CISA's cross-functional teams that are tackling emerging risks and developing cybersecurity services to address enterprise mobile challenges, to include, device security, application security, network and infrastructure security on the mobile side. In one of my additional duties, I am the CISA 5G R&D lead. So all those pieces, as you're following CISA's 5G strategy, you can find this on CISA.gov/5G. And the research and development pieces are the things I work on with the National Risk Management Center. As far as I am a co-chair with the Federal Mobility Group, and I think Christian did a great job. I'll note it is a sort of both a top-down approach and bottom-up approach with cross-government agency cooperation. I will note one thing, just to put a little plug. It just came out yesterday. If people looked at it, or if you looked at Federal Mobility Group, you probably couldn't find the website until as of last Friday. So last Friday it is on CIO.gov. So that's there as a community of practice now. So all the deliverables we've been talking about, instead of having it on behind a CAC or PIV, we actually are going to be hanging it up on the CIO.gov site. What actually came out yesterday was the framework to conduct 5G testing. That is public, really good and useful. It's to help promote collaboration testing in the United States in the 5G space. And it is aligned with the national strategy to secure 5G efforts. So I'll stop there, but definitely appreciate the opportunity to speak.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, Vincent. And next up, I'll go to Gemma Howell over at NIST.
Thanks, Tom. Hello, everyone. Again, I'm Gemma Howell. I work in NIST Applied Cybersecurity Program, and I'm also the NIST co-chair on the Federal Mobility Group. Christian did an awesome job giving an overview of the group. Glad I don't have to do it. Great work, Christian. My focus is in mobile device security, often putting out guidance for how to securely deploy mobile devices. I've also looked into helping out with public safety and their future mobile device deployments. So first responders, fire, EMS, and law enforcement. With the changes in our society, it has organizations and agencies needing to provide different telework options, and one of those being mobile. NIST is certainly aware of that, and we've recently put out some guidance, an update to 800-124. So guidance for managing security for mobile devices in the enterprise. That publication includes, an overview of the threats to mobile devices, and then we suggest different tools that can be used to help mitigate those threats. So things like mobile device management, mobile threat defense, mobile application vetting. And then we also share some information on the deployment lifecycle, all the way from choosing whether you want to do COPE or BYOD into decommissioning devices, as well as what that whole architecture would look like. Additionally, we've put out some practice guides. Recently, we finalized the COPE practice guide to show people an example of how to deploy a corporately owned, personally enabled device, and then in the future we'll be putting out the BYOD architecture. Beyond that, NIST has put out other general telework security guidance related to BYOD in general, as well as remote access. I will definitely spare you from me rattling off a whole bunch of document numbers, but I'll go ahead and end it there. Look forward to the discussion. Thank you.
Yeah, and we'll, as part of our package out to everybody on the call, we'll put together some of the things. I know Vincent referred to this new thing on about 5G, and we'll try to get a couple links out and maybe a couple slides to you all. Next up, I'm going to go over to Courtney, and I was joking with her yesterday. She's like kind of the citizen services portion of this panel.
Yeah. So, well, again, so I oversee our digital services at U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services for external users. So, yes, citizen services, non-citizens in our case, in many
I guess
cases.
so, yeah.
But we service about, I'm sorry, in my portfolio, we have the website in English and Spanish. We also have an online account and online filing, and that's secure and requires authentication. And we have a number of different digital tools that are available to the public. So for us, we service, we have about 25 million sessions per month using any of these tools. We have about 6 million account holders that are coming into the site to apply for a benefit and to use some of our more personalized resources. So, mobile, we have taken a very user-centered approach to everything that we do. So as part of that, as part of some of these other new, the IDEA Act and some other things that we have, that we were taking a mobile-first approach to our design and our development. So especially when it comes to our digital tools, we have things like processing times, which you can access, and it's something that people check all the time because no one enjoys waiting, especially for important things like an immigration benefit. Your case status, so that you can get some updates on that. Also fee calculators and change of address. So some of those basic services that you need to do while you're waiting for something to be completed with us. And then we also have one mobile app at the moment, and it's for practice civics test. So it helps people to study for their naturalization interview and the civics portion of that interview while they are on the go, and that's been pretty successful for us too. So those are the types of things that we're doing in our world, and I'm happy to talk about whatever else may be of interest. But we're definitely seeing more and more mobile users. Spanish mobile is really big for us. Our short and simple forms, we're averaging somewhere between 25 and 30% of those short forms being filed using a mobile device. So it's definitely peaking in our world.
Thank you, Courtney. And next, we're going to keep it in the DHS family. Let's go over to Joel. And Joel, FEMA, since I've gotten into mobility maybe a decade ago, FEMA was always like the poster child for why you needed to have the advanced mobility. You're in a disconnected state.
Exactly.
You've got to work with other people outside of your own agency, and you've got to onboard different people. You got a lot of challenges. And I know you were probably pretty busy this season with the hurricanes and wildfires and everything else. But I'm really interested to hear this update of what's going on over at FEMA these days. Thank you for coming today.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it. So, yeah, to your point, as part of the Department of Homeland Security family, or as a component of Department of Homeland Security, we have to function within a certain framework. For example, it requires that we leverage the certificate authority that is, that's been designated by the department. And so that shapes the types of solutions that we're looking at. And each of the components within DHS all obviously have a slightly different mission. And because we are the Federal Emergency Management Agency, we find a lot of expansion and contraction of our digital footprint based on disaster operations, where we're placing folks. And so it's important that we kind of have a pretty good mobile model in place. For the past few years, we've had MobileIron as our MDM, if you will, to secure devices, and we've augmented that with some other tools as well. I think moving forward, we're looking at maintaining secure communications while simplifying our architecture and kind of lowering our O&M costs. So one thing that we are looking at is Intune, which is part of the O365 software as a service offering, and integrating that with our derived credential solution. So, we're always looking at ways of being able to support the mission and at the same time have pretty good control of our devices that are out towards the outer edge of the network from a security perspective. So yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to share. Definitely open for any questions if you have any. I think you're muted, Tom.
Well, I did that for about 10 seconds there. My record's about 3 minutes in one of my first seminars, so I guess that's not too bad. You think I would figure that one out after doing about 100 of these since pandemic. Next up, we'll go to Benjamin Foster, and we're going to switch it up, and we're going to go to the military with a couple of folks here. But welcome, Benjamin, and it'd be great to hear about what's going on in NGA and all the exciting stuff. I know you've got the IGAP program, you've got a couple of things going on there, and you're interfacing with lots of other constituents inside DoD and civilian agencies and private industry too.
Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, and before I get started, I'll just say I'm really excited to be here with this panel. With all the engagement that we have and the synchronicity that we all have. Always good to re-engage with Vincent, so hopefully we'll have some follow-on conversations with Vincent and Zarin, just because of how connected we and our initiatives are. So in the introduction, my name's Ben Foster. I work for the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. Specifically, I'm in the Office of the Chief Information Officer in Technology. I have the distinct privilege of working on our mobile initiatives and specifically focusing on some really exciting things. So in some of these past seminars, we've all heard and we've been talking for many years about mobile usage dramatically expanding and enabling our workforce to be less tethered to desktop, which I think now more than ever is very important. Enabling our business and utility functions, right? The ability for me to get my government email on my iPhone, to be able to sign documents with derived credentials. So we've come a long way on these very important pieces. And I was also glad to hear Christian mention those pillars, right? Because I do see those as very important pieces to the mobile puzzle, our acquisition, and shout out to GSA, because NGA's Geo and App Store actually uses a GSA contract vehicle for our development of that. So that's been a great partnership there. But acquisition, supply chain management, security, those are all foundations to everything that we're doing. But I want to take it a little step further. So specifically what we're looking at with NGA and our mobile initiative is not just about enabling our workforce from a business perspective, but it's enabling our mission partners and we are a combat support agency, so our warfighters, to enable them, at the edge of the edge. They're often in environments that have no set cellular infrastructure, very much like FEMA. There are disconnected and austere environments. But the interesting angle that we take is these mobile devices, again, not just a business tool, but these are inherently geospatial sensors, right? Most of us are never within or outside of an arm's length away from a very high computing accelerometer and GPS sensor and a high resolution camera that can potentially capture 3D scenes. So what we're focused on is how do we enable the mission application of these tools, built upon that foundation of all of the pillars that we talked about earlier. So this is a very important part of a recently published NGA strategy or initiative called the Moonshot Initiative that our Director, Vice Admiral Sharp, published a few months ago. But we're trying to create that strategic advantage in the speed of mission by leveraging the best of these technologies to provide assured positioning and navigation. How do we enable getting data and NGA products out to our users that are in the field on these devices? And again, how do we leverage these as commercial sensors to enrich the data holdings that NGA wants to bring in, to enable our analysts to exploit that. And I have a few examples that we can probably get into, but I think I'll just tease that for now and pass it back over to you, Tom.
Yep, thank you for that. And we'll go ahead with you, Zarin. I think I met you. You were actually in the National. You were like in the National Guard, and you were a customer, and now you're full time over at DISA.
Yes, it has been it's been an interesting transition year. I transitioned from active duty,
active
guard to civilian DISA mobility space, and I thought, oh, cool, this is going to be a lighter track, and this year has not been a lighter track. I think I've been working harder than I have in my life, but it's been a unique opportunity, and we've had the opportunity to really kind of get a lot of technology and a lot of buy-in on ideas people weren't quite on before. Like the idea of having the bulk of the DoD workforce virtual was pretty much unthinkable outside of COOP circumstances ahead of this. And I guess one could argue that this is the COOP circumstance. But DISA has been at the forefront of kind of trying to get all that coordinated. We are, as a National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, we are also an IT combat support agency. So our main mission at DISA is to connect and protect the warfighter in cyberspace. So we provide service to somewhere along the lines of 4 million DoT computers and then 180,000 mobile users across the enterprise, which is a number that is still growing. It's been crazy. Obviously, this year has significantly skewed things upward. So whether it's cloud or mobile devices, we are doing everything for beyond productivity, whether it's directly supporting the warfighter by air, land, or sea, or in space. We're helping to coordinate all that. So really, our responsibility is to secure and defend all our infrastructure 24/7, 365. What we're working on specifically within the Emerging Technology Directorate at DISA is taking technology and just whatever it is, trying to see where it fits and if this is something that we can take the chance on. And one of those things that we're doing is virtual mobile infrastructure. So and again, I'm very biased on this point as I'm a National Guardsman myself, is that the National Guard and Reserve has been basically fully engaged in the fight, whether it is in the Mideast, whether it's in Asia, whether it's right here at home, and COVID, fighting fires, literal fires out in California, whatever it is, we're fully engaged. But that communication piece has always been not as tight as we prefer. Yes, you've got soldiers, airmen, sailors who can access their email through by utilizing their common access card on their desktop, but that can be a varied experience, whether you're on Windows or OS X or on Linux. It's not exactly that. It's not a great user experience that everyone would like. COVID has really forced us to kind of really consider that. My unit was actually activated for 2 months, July and August, to support the state of Maryland's COVID response. So I got to feel firsthand that immediate call up and having to communicate, yes, everyone has cell phones, but we aren't really leveraging and using that piece. Like every single one of my soldiers has one of these in their hands. So how can we leverage that? Our idea is by using virtual mobile technology, VMIB. Basically, every soldier can have access back into DOTA and have a secure space that resides within DOTA infrastructure to access things like email, et cetera, documents, all that stuff they need that they, at that point, we don't have to issue them out a physical laptop, a GFE phone, because they've got this virtual device that lives back in DoD. So that's really what we're shooting for right now, and it's one of those things that was supposed to have a nice, easy, time to grow, but the demand has been huge this year. So we're doing everything we can, pulling out all the stops and working in this challenging environment to get this capability proved out and deployed. I think that's about it I have for right now. Tom, back
I
to
got
you.
I got some questions that we'll hit you up on. I think we got one coming up that's we're gonna have some discussion on. And last but certainly not least, we have Priya. And one of the things that that maybe you can address is that disconnected state in the private industry. You got the healthcare, you've got finance, and I think you guys really address a problem there. For when you're disconnected, whether it's in the basement of a federal building or out in the, doing your FEMA work in a hurricane.
Absolutely, Tom. Thanks for that cue. You're right. I mean, we build solutions for the commercial space. So we think whether it's business critical apps in the commercial, or you're dealing with military missions like the FEMA, and you're dealing with the pandemic or a fire, fighting crisis, data is an important role to play. And you need a comprehensive data strategy, but a way to securely move the data around is also important. So where is data stored? Where is it getting processed is going to be important, and how the data gets moved between the collaborators is also important. So to that end, we think moving the data processing closer to the edge, where the data is actually being generated or consumed, is going to be important. So mobile devices are more capable than ever, right? I mean, they're capable in terms of storage, capable in terms of processing. You can bring in machine learning models, and you can do an analysis right there on your mobile devices. So they're much more capable than what they used to be like decades ago, right? The feature phones that we used to have. So, and they are also getting to be increasingly more secure. So we think there needs to be an offline first strategy, right? An ability to locally process and store the data. Of course, the mobile device itself can be a gateway, so to speak, for IoT sensors. So Christine and others talked about 5G, right? And with 5G, you get the bandwidth and you get the low latency, which means you're going to have a proliferation of these IoT applications, and you're collecting all the sensor data from the equipment and predictive maintenance, and all that data can be collected right there on your mobile devices. Your field operations or the maintenance staff there can go inspect this equipment, get the sensor data, locally analyze it right there on your mobile device, and you can generate alerts or order inventory information, for example. So a lot of that data is time series. It's temporal in nature. It doesn't have to sort of propagate all the way to the cloud for analysis. It makes sense to eventually propagate aggregated data to the cloud for long-term analysis and persistence, but then you would want to locally do that so you can have real-time actions. And then, while you can store the data locally, and that's going to be very important in these disconnected scenarios, at the end of the day, we want to have collaboration. At the end of the day, we want to be able to sync the data back to the cloud or back to the edge data center. So you need a comprehensive sync solution, which can detect that, hey, the network is disconnected, but when the network connectivity is resumed, you want to pick up from where you previously left off, right? You don't want to start syncing and pulling down data from the very start. It has to track, that was the last sync point. I'm going to start resuming from where I previously left off. So I think in general, the notion of moving the data storage and processing to the edge, which which sort of ties in with this paradigm of edge computing, I think is going to be more and more relevant.
No, I think so. As you're doing your work, you're out in the field. You don't want to be in a situation where you are connected or you disconnected. You don't even know, and then you're getting incomplete forms and that type of thing. But we'll definitely talk more about that. I think my first question, we've got one question from the audience, which I'll get to in a minute. But the first question is, how has COVID affected the mobile mission for you, and how? I think even BYOD seems to have picked up some steam because people are working from home. But maybe I'll start off with you, Christian, because I know you supported a lot of government agencies. I mean, some people didn't have mobile phones, government issued mobile phones, and then all of a sudden they're at home and they got issued a lot. And I know you had to deal a lot with Sam Navarro and, that transition. I think you were on that detail too, to help these agencies get to a good place right when pandemic hit.
Right, and you're exactly right, Tom. The pandemic hit, and a lot of agencies were scrambling. I think GSA, we've always been kind of the role model when it comes to teleworking and having that telework program in place and that mobile infrastructure. But it affected us as well. In-person meetings, one-on-one interactions, it all came to a virtual halt pretty much. But with all the offerings that we do offer at GSA and working with Sam Navarro's team, we were able to help a lot of agencies. CDC, for instance, we helped them secure some mobility devices so they can continue their mission. And that's what we're here at GSA doing. We make sure that our customers don't miss a beat and they can continue their mission no matter what happens or what emergency may come up. And we do that through our many offerings. We have, like I said, our SIN 517312 on the schedules. We have EIS, another program that offer mobility solutions. And we also have invested in developing tools like an RFQ generator tool, a savings calculator. These are tools that help agencies come to us easily. It's a one-stop shop. They can just go in, put in the information they need, develop an RFQ, and just keep moving and push it out just like that. Also, I did want to mention, I know Courtney had talked about Derive PIV, personal identification verification. I know just a few weeks ago, GSA and the United States Postal Service partnered US Access Point Pilot. And what that has done is it's called USA Access, and it's a shared service that provides personal identity verification credentialing services for federal employees and contractors at established locations throughout the country. We're still onboarding people. We're still having contractors come on to the government. So it was key that we found a way to still onboard our employees and our customers, obviously safely through the pandemic. So that's just kicked off. Waiting to see how that goes. I think so far it's been going well. So and it's been a great partnership with USPS and them hosting those sites for us. So.
Yeah, we heard a little bit about that the other day with Alan Hill, and we have an identity management group. I'm really excited about that. And we were talking about how we can build off that pilot, and since the post office has agreed to do it, so that's really exciting. Courtney, I'll go to you next. Your constituents, you would come to the office, and now it's kind of like the DMV. You can't go to the office anymore. What have you seen that's changed the way you service your constituents?
Yeah, so there was a period of time where our offices were completely closed, and during that time, we definitely saw the use of our online tools go up. We had a number of other factors, I suppose, in over the summer that also impacted our online filing rates to go up, including the election and some fee hikes. We saw all of these things kind of impact us simultaneously. So not always just COVID was the impact on our agency in the recent months. But I would say the other thing is it did cause us to think more creatively about how we do our work. So when it comes to interviewing folks, for example, so they're doing more, not completely remote, but we're relying, people are coming into the office, but then they sit in separate rooms, more reliance on tablets for the remote interview process is how we're dealing with it. And again, getting signatures and all of that through our tablets or other mobile devices in that way. We're also looking at how we do the check-in process, so we can take out the humans from the process and people can check in from their phone or while they're parking to say that they're going to be available for their interviews. And ultimately, maybe even thinking about for naturalization ceremonies and things like that, how can we make it just more nimble in the environment that we're in? And we too are looking at remote authentication is a big thing for us when we think about our secure account. There are lots and lots of services that we want to provide, but we also need to ensure that we're providing them to the people that we're sure, we are giving the information out to those that that have been verified or authenticated. So that is really important for us in order to expand our services too.
Great. And Vincent, do you want to add anything to this? Have you seen kind of a shifting of priorities of any kind that you've noticed?
Yeah, I mean, just the onboarding process. So I can talk about that just because I switched over and joined CISA, a great organization to work for, loving it. And I'll say, just taking the oath, right? You raise your hand and all that good stuff, and everybody turns on their audio to say the oath. But the raising the hand part, we all hit the raise the hand button. In this case, it was over HISN, Homeland Security Information Network, for Adobe Connect. So it's interesting times to see how things are able to work remotely. We have adapted. You did see a huge surge even within Federal Mobility Group. We tried to host a series of carriers and network service providers, internet service providers, to brief us on what are their capabilities, what are they doing. So things like Adobe Connect, things like Microsoft Teams, very, very large adoption within government. You're seeing that, and you'll see the small hiccups and sort of that ramp up of, well, hey, I have Microsoft Teams, but it doesn't come with a phone number, right? And so, or how can I put this on? Because now you talk about BYOD and other things. I sometimes get triple booked, so I have a laptop with it on, a phone with it on, and then another phone, my personal, with another meeting on. So depending on where I need to be and how we work, you're seeing the expansion of working remotely, the digital services and capabilities that are out there. The collaboration tools are really great and opportunistic, but we have adapted. We do have Microsoft Teams with the phone number, even on my DoD, like on the Reserve Navy side that I work. I have it thanks to some of my NIWC PAC folks gave me the link on, how do I get the Microsoft Teams now with the phone number? So a lot of these types of capabilities you're seeing, come online and work for us.
Yeah, and thank you for that, Vincent. And Jem, I'll go to you. I just, every time I go to NIST, it's just a wonderful collaborative place. And I always get a good vibe every time I'm there. And now we're closed. And how is everybody coping with the new dynamic over there at NIST?
Yeah, at NIST, in particular, under my laboratory, we've always been capable and ready to go telework. So it wasn't too big of a transition for us because we've always had that capability. But it's certainly different with not being able to just go to our labs and get in there, set things up, see things on hand. Now we have to go through a little bit of a longer process to get into the labs, to get permission to go in, make sure everybody knows who's there, where, and make sure we all have that separation. So definitely had some new. A few new guidelines be put into place. And one thing that I also wanted to mention was that even though we had a lot of guidance around telework, that we put out around 2016. The recent events have definitely had us go back and take a look and think about ways to maybe update that information to make it more readable and make sure that it's in a good state for people to be able to absorb and put our information into practice. So we're definitely taking a look at our information and making sure it's in a good place to put out there for folks.
Well, now you really see what the impact of that policy is, because you got to live it. Yeah, so that's probably not a bad thing anyway, right? Yeah. Where am I going to go? How about you, Benjamin? What kind of mission, were there new mission apps? I mean, were you seeing a lot around the COVID response? What did that look like over at NGA?
Yeah, NGA, it's pretty interesting in terms of us being an intelligence community agency. I think for the past decade or so, we've already saw the trend of democratizing geospatial intelligence and, the propagation of commercial satellites going up. So we've been slowly moving into the unclassified space anyway. COVID has definitely put a lot of momentum and velocity behind that now. So from the corporate side of NGA, we had to very quickly adapt to, migrating some of our, higher classified missions. How do we segment those so that we can do the unclassified part, at home in an IntelliWork environment, enabling webmail and collaboration tools like chat tools and stuff like that on our mobile devices. But we were well positioned for this even prior to COVID in terms of building. We always, at least in the CIOT directorate, we've always focused on trying to build our capabilities low so that we can push them to the higher domains for a number of reasons. One is because we have that vast amount of geospatial information on those lower domains. So there's still there's always been a mission need for tools like that. But it's also because if you think about it, the unclassified domain is the highest threat vector. So if we can build our capabilities and secure them at that level, it makes it that much easier for us to move them up to our higher mission. So I think we were very well positioned, and I've just seen a great momentum and velocity push at NGA, and we've been able to do all those things and maintain our mission without missing a step.
Great. And maybe I'll go over to you, Joel. I mean, you guys are always about the next disaster anyway. Here we go. We have pandemic and COVID-19. Right. What's different about this is for the folks that usually work in an office, they're not allowed to go to the office now. So how did that affect you all?
Absolutely. So, I mean, we definitely rolled out Teams ahead of schedule. The plan was always to enable Teams and leverage that for collaboration. But because our mission is survivor focused, we had to look at other tools. So we moved into the Zoom space, Zoom for Gov, made sure that we were able to, do the correct, threshold analysis, privacy threshold analysis and other security checks. And so we've kind of leveraged some different tools in different ways. Zoom is kind of our external facing tool. That we've not integrated with with a lot of our resources that sit on our network, and we've kept Teams as more of internal DHS family tool. So that's been one way of doing it. Additionally, we've looked at some expanded use cases to get folks enabled, to onboard new employees, to vet survivors. So yeah, there have been a number of different tools we put in place and try to be a little bit smarter about it.
Yep, and thank you. And Saren, you kind of went from a nice to have to a need to have pretty quick. I can only imagine what your life was like after that week of March 9th or whatever. Your prime time after that.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. It we literally went overnight to having to accelerate implementation of the DISA strategic plan. So, we had to consider a lot of cybersecurity issues, shifting 80% of not DISA's workforce, but the DoD workforce to telework status. So we had to suddenly kind of figure out a whole bunch of ways to protect that critical data. So there's a rollout of CCVI, which is like a cloud-based internet browser. So essentially the user's entire internet browsing session on their laptop is happening in a DoD server. So that kind of helps eliminate some of that threat a little bit. And then obviously we had the huge workplace transition and demand for mobile. So I know of that 20% that was still in the office, my team, our guys and gals were in the office, in the server farms, like getting gear racked and stacked, and trying to get everything done, accelerated timeline, constantly getting pinged. Is it done yet? Is it done yet? It's like, hold on, guys. We are not Supermen. We're doing our best. But working with our mission partners and kind of managing that expectation, we've been able to kind of get some of that initial capability kicked out. And then in addition to all this, the technical challenge of securing all that data, we also had to address the supply chain issue, not like supply chain risk management, the fact that every other organization in the world is also trying to get access to servers and, device and everything else. So we're calling vendors and trying to get, hey, can we get X, Y, and Z? And they're like, sorry, no, we've got that back ordered because of COVID. So that's been our constant response, is having to figure out how we can either adapt existing equipment or, find replacement parts and things like that to meet this challenge, which now that things have, I won't say settled down, but now that people have adapted, we've been able to deal with some of that gear shortage and whatnot, and get that infrastructure up and running. But yeah, that's really been the big piece, is handling this increased demand.
Yep, thank you. And Priya, we'll just close with you on that topic. You've seen these. What is the commercial side really been demanding from you all since we started COVID?
Sure. So of course, there have been certain verticals and industries which have been affected more than the other, like the travel and so on. But they've been finding more innovative ways. If the ship isn't sailing, let's use this time for R&D. So they're kind of innovating and spending their resources on that. So we've seen a shift, but we've also seen a significant uptick on certain types of applications like e-check-ins, telemedicine. That's a huge thing. So we've got a lot of our customers in the healthcare space where they've seen a big boost to their mobile applications being used now for telemedicine, for e-check-ins, for even being notifying. So very similar to the things that we're thinking of in the UCSI space, right? I mean, you want to be notified of what's going on. So you wait at the parking lot and you get notified, hey, your doctor is ready to see you if you want to go in. So it varies by industry. So I'll leave it at that. I know there are a lot of questions coming in as well. So
Yep. And yeah, we might be running a little late, but that's okay. How about we do the poll real quick, because Gemma kind of helped us with this, and there were some really good questions, and I want to grab while we have an audience, big audience here. I want to have everybody have a chance to do this. So the first question: where do government agencies or other organizations need more guidance or information? UEM, virtual mobile infrastructure, IoT device management. So you have a chance right now to change the course potentially of federal government and mobility. So please answer real quick.
You can only pick one.
You can only pick one. Yeah, well, yeah, that might be a flaw. We're going to have to just roll with it, Vincent. Sorry.
It's all good.
The second question: which will your organization or agency be managing or deploying more of in the next 12 months? Okay, we'll give it just a couple of seconds, and real easy question. Let's see what we got, Alyssa. Virtual mobile infrastructures, hot. IoT device management, we really haven't had a chance to talk about yet, but that's I think people, this BYOD thing might have some legs. And you know, it doesn't have to be BYOD. And which, okay. Any surprises here from anybody? Not too much.
I think
Go ahead,
VMI is definitely an area that you know, it's been up and coming definitely, and as with COVID, definitely I see. I mean, just like the DoD CBR environment, right? And the different ATO approvals or provisional. I mean, they're willing. You have to make, in some cases, we're willing to make exceptions now because we have to continue the mission. So you know, especially during the COVID environment. So virtual mobile infrastructure, seeing guidance on that would be great. I know that's definitely an area of interest for a lot of agencies.
Okay, great. Okay, well, let's go to some of the questions and get at some of these. First question, and maybe I'll direct it to a couple of people. I don't know if everybody has to chime in on everything, but how secure is a consumer-ready mobile device, and what is required to assure the security is maintained? Vincent, I have to probably direct that to you, and maybe I'll have Gemma talk about it too.
Yeah, so I'm biased, but that's because we have lots of partnerships with NIAP, right, and NSA. Is you know, commercial solutions for classified component list is the way I'd go. If you look at any approved products list in an agency and you see how they do it, I mean, honestly, if it's, I mean, you have your iPhone, you have your Samsung, you have your whatever the vendor, not to be any bias in any way, but think about, you know, the security associated and the various vendors. You don't want a no-name brand that, you know, may be doing nefarious things. You want brands that that have backing, right? That if something, you know, if they did something wrong or something wrong happened, they would care about their brand and reputation. So Commercial Solutions for Classified does have that program. People go through that certification process and you know, can use from there. And if it's good enough for classified, well, guess what? Probably good enough for everything else. So just noting.
Yep. And Gemma, you want to add anything? Since you do work with NIST.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, mobile devices have a lot of security capabilities built into them now. They definitely evolved a lot over the years, and they have a lot of capabilities built into their systems now. And I think what it takes is to have those additional mobile security tools to kind of tap into those APIs and turn some of those security features on, and to make sure that they're established. I think this question is geared towards enterprise use, and so you know, setting up those mobile devices to comply with your policies, and like I said, turn on those security features would be key.
Yeah,
Tom, I'd like to add something real quick too, because
go ahead.
Just like what Vincent said, we rely a lot on NIAP and following those protection profiles. But I think we also take a layered approach to say, not only do we want to make sure those devices are secured, in a perfect world, we would secure at the app level too. So there's things that we can do at the app level to enforce some of those policies, you know, as an extra layer of protection.
Great, great. Another question we have with the FMG and the adoption of 5G within the federal government, what are some early use cases? Maybe I'll give you that first chance, Christian, to talk about that.
Sure. Oops. All right, I'm off of mute. Yeah, so I can tell you that FMG is plugged into the National Strategy to Secure 5G and the National Security Council's efforts to implement it government-wide. You know, what we're doing is how we, you know, looking at some of the pillars of that is facilitating domestic 5G rollout. You know, how are agencies doing that, and how can we assist agencies in doing that? Our federal CIOs are really plugged into that as well, so we're helping out with that. And I can tell you, you know, just when you're looking at the responsible promoting responsible global development deployment of 5G, I would say like webinars like this, and you know, that public and private partnership, like with ATARC and different other entities. I mean, it's huge in doing that. I know that's something that FMG is now, you know, trying to foster as we continue to grow and have an impact on this deployment of 5G in the federal government.
Great, thank you. Go ahead, Vincent.
Yeah, just real quick to add. So there's 11 use cases in the paper. You just go to CIO.gov. It's the first one on the news. So it's pretty easy to find. 9 of those are provided by DoD use cases like last mile connectivity, autonomous vehicles, different drone scenarios. There is an AR, VR for training and drone scenario within the paper. But our hope, and as Christian mentioned, is public-private partnership. There are over, in our cases, we collected over 60 different federal initiatives across the board in 5G. We want to foster that collaboration and adoption and testing of 5G. The key thing here with that framework is more testing means, faster adoption, which means hopefully economic prosperity, right? So that's the key thing.
Great. Well, we're getting a little late on time, but I want to at least give everybody a final chance to talk about where they kind of saw mobility going over maybe the next year to 18 months in your organization. And maybe I'll start off with you, Courtney, if you don't mind.
Sure. I think for us, we'll continue to, well, we know we're going to have telework a lot more, so we certainly will take advantage of various services, like you say, internally, Teams and other channels, so that we can continue to work from home more, and also then think creatively about these interviews that I was talking about. So I think that's where a large part of our focus will be, is on how do we have more remote interview capabilities, and as well as then how do we ensure we've got secure online accounts, so that we using the various security channels and things like that that are available to us, and authentication mechanisms. So
well,
that's where I would say.
Pandemic's forced your hand, and it's probably helping you out get some of these things you probably wanted to do anyway. People really seeing the value. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I think so, for sure. Yeah.
And how about you, Joel?
I think for us, it has a lot. I think a lot has to do with our work that we do with our state, local, and tribal partners. So it's developing a platform, and I know there are a few things currently in the works, but developing a platform where we can exchange information in a secure way, and be able to trust that the party on the other side is vetted to at least a kind of a public trust level. So that's we're trying to leverage our mobile infrastructure for that where possible, and that kind of aligns with us moving to Intune and O365.
Great. And Zarin?
So I think within the DoD space, we're going to see a lot more buy-in and a lot more adoption of mobile technologies. This year was definitely an outlier in terms of, oh gosh, that was the understatement of the century. But in terms of getting folks to, well, I have no choice but to try this. It's like green eggs and ham. People tried it and then they found out they liked it, and now they can't get enough of it. So like Vincent was saying earlier about the commercial virtual remote environment, CVR Teams, initially people were like, what am I supposed to do with this? And they're like, oh, it's like email, but better. Suddenly you're getting people to try this great thing that you've been telling them, hey, I work in the technology, guys. I promise you it's cool. Explain to someone who is infantry where their head is, hey, where is the enemy who I need to stop? How does this help me? I'm an artilleryman. How does this help me? I'm a pilot. How does this help me? And it's kind of helping all these folks figure out, oh, wait, if I can use this to communicate with my immediate personnel, well, what else can mobile do for me? And that's really what we're finally getting to. It's people seeing that, it's more than, it's more than just something that I throw in my bag to send cat pictures. This is something that I can use at the tactical edge. This is something that can help accelerate the mission. And it can help me be secure. It can help me be fast. It can help me increase lethality of my soldiers, of my airmen, of my sailors, of my Marines, of my Coast Guardsmen, of my National Guard, of my reservists. It helps unite all these different groups that have traditionally all done their own communication path. But finally, with things like 5G and, with things like Starlink, all these other different folks coming out, we're at a real crossroads of, I think, that sort of technology convergent between desktop and mobile. And that's kind of where we are right now. We're sitting right here at the doorstep of that.
Yep. And Priya?
Sure. Well, Zareen and Courtney sort of summarized it perfectly, right? I think through the pandemic, it's been a hard year, but needless to say, but then I think the relevance of mobile devices has just grown. Whether, I mean, Zareen talked about a lot of the military missions, right? And they are truly mission critical. But then we've seen that in healthcare, online shopping, restaurants, in-store shopping, anywhere, any sector, it's completely revolutionized. And I think it's going to stay. There's going to be a new normal even after the COVID. And I think it's going to grow. The relevance is going to grow. People are more comfortable using it for applications they are traditionally not very comfortable using. So I think a need to securely store, transfer, use your data is going to be more and more relevant.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And I always think of the Gartner hype cycle. I think in like 2012, we were like in the hype cycle, and then we went through the trough of disillusionment, and now it's like getting mainstream. It's just taken a little bit longer than you'd want. But anyway, Gemma, do we have anything on the standards front coming up that you're looking at?
The latest document that we're working on getting out is the BYOD document, which has definitely had a lot of interest. And we take a look at that from both the security perspective as well as the privacy perspective. Certainly using your personal device adds some additional privacy concerns for the individual. So we share some of that in our guidance, and we're hoping to get that out for public comment coming up soon here.
Great. I think it's good timing for that because I know the DoD's been cooking up a BYOD policy, and DISA's got some policies there. So it'd be good to really look at and harmonize a lot of this stuff. Great. Benjamin?
Yeah, so I'll just say we just look forward to continuing to build really cool mission apps and try to keep pace with our commercial partners as they release new operating systems and new devices. In the chat, I did throw in some links just for some examples, right? We've got some great partnerships going on. Some to highlight is with the Department of Homeland Security and how can we build mobile applications to assist with their maritime mobile command and control platform and some of their missions of stopping illicit trafficking on the open ocean. So that really goes into the disconnected environment. And also, we have to continue to build our partnerships with everyone here, with GSA, with NIST, with our cybersecurity folks. For us to build those mobile apps, we count on all of those partnerships there. And then I will also mention, St. Louis is interestingly becoming a hub for geospatial technology. And we did just announce that we anticipate spring of 2021 in St. Louis, we will be opening a thing called Moonshot Labs, which will be a modern high-tech space specializing in geospatial technology, where we'll have software developers, technologists, data scientists. So that's some really great stuff to look forward to.
Great. And Christian?
Hey, so just continuing on the acquisition side, just continuing to enhance our offerings, keeping up with the technology. As Ben mentioned, continuing that collaboration with other agencies, as well as just listening to our customers. Also collaboration with our private sector, our vendors, especially small businesses. I mean, they have that niche product that we are definitely looking for on our program. And just also continuing to lead the FMG as we continue to look into 5G and those type of other emerging technologies.
Yeah. And Vincent, I'll give you the last word before we close the program.
Just more to come, right? Definitely within CISA, mobile security and what we're doing today and what we plan to do in the future. I mean, the CISA 5G strategy, the mobile security services, as we're looking, can't say a lot about that, but within Cyber Quality Service Management Office, we look at everything as a shared service, right? Different capabilities we can build in for scalability, for efficiency, cost savings, you name it. So definitely a lot to come with the new year. And looking forward to it. Thanks for having me and everyone else on the panel.
Thank you. Thank you. And that's teasing us for the next mobile panel we're going to have probably toward the beginning of the year, and we'll talk about 2021. Thank you all. Christian, Benjamin, Priya, Joel, Courtney, Gemma. Who else did I get? Sorry, it just changed. Joel, Zarin, Courtney. I think I got everybody. Thank you all, and everybody have a good week. We want to thank Couchbase as well. This is a fantastic opportunity to get our mobile friends together. And then next week after the holidays, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's Thanksgiving already. We're going to have a great panel on TIC 3.0 success stories. That's been a fantastic series for us. And of course, we have a TIC 3.0 demonstration center. So there's been a lot coming out of that. And but anyway, thank you for sticking with us, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Tom.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Al.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.